Welcome to Diverse Orange, our conversations on Tuesdays about diversity here in Central Florida. My guest today is Arvinder Sodhi. Welcome, Arvinder.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be able to meet with you and interact with you today. Thank you so much.
Well, you, I believe, were born in England, but grew up in Montreal.
Yes, that's correct.
And you come from parentage that is of the Punjabi area, northern India, where the center of the Sikh religion.
Yes.
And so you grew up with access and knowledge of that heritage?
Yes, absolutely. I was born and raised in a Sikh family. My parents are both Punjabi, Sikh, and Indian. All of my grandparents are from North India. My father was born in Delhi, in India. And actually, so the way I ended up being born in England is that he left for a tour of Europe when he was 24. He met my mother and settled down in UK. So that's how I was born in UK. My mother is from the Uganda-Kenya border area, Eldoret, in East Africa, and she moved to UK as a child. That's where my parents met, had me, and then at 2 years old, I moved to Montreal with my parents.
So growing up in Montreal, were you exposed to a broader community? Were you mostly kept in a Sikh community?
I had exposure to everybody in Montreal. There wasn't a culture or a community that we weren't aware of. I think growing up in Montreal, it's so diverse, and there's so many people to interact with. Although I grew up predominantly in a French-Canadian society, I was raised Anglophone in Quebec. So I had access to every culture, every group of people, the food, friends came from all over while I was growing up in Montreal.
And what brought you to Orlando?
Okay. Well, my husband and I met and I moved to Port Orange first. So we lived in Port Orange. My husband, his family has been here locally since about the early 1980s, 1984, 1985. And from there, from Port Orange, we moved to here, Orlando, closer to the international airport. I was promised the lifestyle that really appealed to this city girl from Montreal, and the promise of fast-paced, metropolitan, exciting, progressive, internationally known Disney, and just all of that is what brought us to this side of town.
Port Orange wasn't doing it for you in that area?
Port Orange was great, but before 2011, before it started its like crazy development, it was a quiet, charming, very beautiful area and close to the beach. So I did love that too, and I had my daughter in there as well.
Well, before you came to Florida, in Central Florida, what were your thoughts about Orlando?
Before living in Florida, I knew about the oranges. We had fundraisers in elementary school with Florida oranges. So I definitely knew that oranges were part of Florida. I knew Mickey Mouse was part of Florida. Beaches, I know when I first met my husband, he was telling me all about the beaches in Florida and the drivable beach, 27 miles of Daytona drivable beach. So that's what I knew. Kennedy Space Center. So, those are basically the concepts that I had about Florida in my mind.
And did you think that you'd fit in there?
I was absolutely looking forward to fitting in. The weather was perfect. I had a holiday in Florida once before getting married, and I loved it. So I was definitely looking forward to fitting in.
Great. And have you found a Sikh community here as well? Is your husband a Sikh?
Yes, my husband and my husband's family, all the same Sikh Punjabi. Yes, there is a community here in Orlando. In Oviedo, actually, we have a Sikh Society of Central Florida, and we have congregation all over Central Florida, from Tampa to Melbourne to South Florida. So it's everywhere. Gainesville, Punjabis and Sikhs have definitely created themselves a home and community here.
Does your husband wear a turban?
He does, yes. My husband was raised growing up with a turban at a young age, and he still wears one.
And has he found any discrimination or backlash to
Interesting.
looking a little different?
Interesting question. He is also born and brought up a little bit when he was younger in UK, and then moved here when he was little. So he has had both experiences, and I can say that his experience has been interesting because yes, he has faced it, and also he's been brought up like a Florida boy, by the beach, and so he's got a bit of both worlds in him, and he's very, very much assimilated to the culture and life here. But obviously, he has an appearance that looks different. And so, yes, there have been questions. And yes, there have been people that are startled when they first see him. And he does a great job of explaining himself and discussing his religion and telling people about him. And he's very disarming if approached and if anybody asks a question. So it's kind of, he's living the best of both worlds, I would say, because he has the ability to create awareness around his turban.
Is he a surfer?
In his dreams.
I was just trying to imagine surfing with a turban, which would get wet and heavy. Perhaps I don't know.
Yeah. So actually, Sikhs can participate in literally any sport and any activity because you don't have to wear a full turban. There's different sizes of turbans and different ways of covering your hair while practicing any sport. So there are Sikhs in a variety of athletic fields.
Well, now that you're here in Central Florida, I know you're involved in a number of different things, exploring as you said, this multicultural community. Do you want to tell us about any of that?
Here in Florida and in Central Florida, I have been really, really lucky and blessed to be exposed to a number of different organizations that I'm a part of. And I love to participate a little bit in different activities. So I guess I can tell you a little bit about working with the Sikh community. I have been exposed to different organizations through the Sikh community, and one of these organizations is the Interfaith Coalition. So right now I'm doing a interfaith, getting to know your neighbors and of faith and non-faith, and that is so needed, I think, right now to bring awareness to all people and all humanity. So that's something that I enjoy participating in right now. I do participate in currently another organization, Khalsa Aid, and this Sunday we're doing a community give back through the Sikh Society of Central Florida. And oh yeah, there's the flyer about getting to know your neighbors of faith and non-faith, and that's a program that's already starting. It's already current, so it's happening. I think the third session is tonight. And so back to Khalsa Aid and Sikh Society of Central Florida have a community give back this Sunday, and the donations go to the rescue outreach mission in Sanford. I'm working on trying to put together a mental health awareness seminar, and yeah, that's about it currently.
Great. How about you? Have you felt accepted and fitting into Central Florida, into Orlando's community?
Yes, I do feel welcomed and accepted wherever I go. I have the opportunity of being able to speak about myself when asked, and I love interacting with people from different faiths and different backgrounds. I love learning, and I think that once one opens themselves up to asking genuine and authentic questions about another person, then that person is also open to being welcoming to me.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Have you been to India? Have you been to your ancestral?
Yes, I did go to India. And so ironically, that's what I was saying to you earlier, that my knowledge of Punjab and The culture came more after marriage. The first time I visited India was right before my marriage to do our shopping for my wedding. So that was the first time I went to India. It was an amazing experience because I got to visit places that I had only, heard about and seen on whatever internet was back then. And I loved exploring. I loved seeing where our heritage comes from, our temples, our gurdwaras, which is our house of worship. And I was able to learn a lot in a very short time. I really did enjoy my time there.
Super. Well, we're glad that you're settled here, that you're involved in the community, you're helping us learn about each other. Obviously, it's harder to fear or hate people once you know them. Even if you live a different lifestyle or have different beliefs, once we know each other, it's more difficult to hate.
I absolutely, truly agree with that statement.
Well, thank you very much. And I want to thank those watching our Diverse Orange Conversations, which we do every Tuesday. I also do a Playfully Orange on Thursday afternoons about arts and culture here in Central Florida. Thank you, everyone.